whenever it counts, we'll always be there.
Got the coast and country, got the sun and sea, and we're proud to be part of the community. For all the ways you're growing, reaching out and standing tall. For all the things we're knowing, TV Port is the one for all. For all the times together, for moments you'll recall. For always and forever, we're the one for all. TV Port is the one for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to GameCenter 40 for Friday, February 7th, 2020, and here are tonight's top stories. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid has finally gotten a 2.0 update, which now opens up a lot of opportunities for PS4, Switch, Xbox One, and PC owners of the game. That's not all the update provides. It will also come with up to 18 characters across many generations of Power Rangers, depending on whether you got 2 season passes, 1, or none. What doesn't depend on it is that you get 9 more arenas from various series in the franchise, 4 Megazords, and a reimagining of Shattered Grid, plus voiceovers by most of the original cast. The update is available now for all 4 platforms. Dr. Mario has also got an update released today, adding 2 new Koopaling doctors and another assistant. Dr. Roy can break 7 crates immediately after his power is activated and will send 2 crates to your opponent. Dr. Larry can also destroy 7 crates as long as they are rainbow crates. And the new assistant, the Ant Trooper, will fill your skill meter by 30% if 4 or more viruses are eliminated in stage mode. Funko revealed 5 new pop vinyl figures from 2 known franchises, 4 from Pokemon and 1 from Shantae. There are no release dates for any of the 5 figures. Speaking of release dates, Sega Ages is still going strong internationally. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Puyo Puyo 2 will come out for the Nintendo Switch on February 20th, 2020, and will incorporate new features to the old games. Supersonic mode and time trial mode for Sonic 2, a colorblind mode, a rewind mode, and an online leaderboard for Puyo Puyo 2. Once again, the sequels will be out in a couple of weeks. Are we back on? We're starting to get technical issues again. Anyways, when we come back on Game Center 40, Capcom's finally unleashing some pre-registers, a death game finally gets announced, and Tokyo MX is finally putting the kibosh on a broadcast. Stay with us. errors we've been having for the past hour or so. Thirty seconds. 30 seconds before going back to air. Capcom of Taiwan has announced open pre-registration for their upcoming smartphone game, Rockman X Dive. The game was set to launch back in December, but has been pushed back to Q1 of 2020. Capcom of Taiwan has also released art of First Armor X, Black Zero, Cinnamon, and Aliyah, who will be a pre-register bonus for players once the game launches. Beta testing players will not be able to receive access to these bonuses until they remove their access to the beta servers. The pre-registration window is limited to Southeast Asia this moment. There's finally a release date for Death Come True, which will be in June of 2020. Izanagi Games has announced not only the release date, but also multiple subtitle languages. The game follows Makoto Karaki, who wakes up from amnesia to discover that he is wanted for the murder of multiple people. He will be able to go back in time the moment he is killed to make the game itself last longer. The trailers that were released showcased the various aspects of the game, including other characters. The game is directed by Danganronpa creator Kazutaka Kodaka, with Shinsuke Umeda producing and Shinsuke Kamata creative directing. Tokyo MX has put the kibosh on their broadcast of the anime series known as Interspecies Reviewers. This comes after Funimation canceled their simulcast and simuldub of the series due to Funimation determining that the series falls outside of their standards. According to the committee, the Tokyo MX broadcast has been canceled due to organizational reasons of Tokyo Metropolitan Television. It has been removed from Tokyo MX, Funimation, Wakanim Nordic, and Amazon Prime Video. The series has also gained the attention of JBEPIO, which is also known as the Japanese Broadcasting Ethics and Program Improvement Organization, who published a January 2020 summary which details a complaint about a late-night anime with content based on nothing. It's too much. Let's just say it's rated R. The complaint was being filed. The filer has felt angry at the current situation about the anime having discriminatory depictions of women and it being seen by young people without age restrictions. A show about cruise ships will replace the anime series for the foreseeable future on Tokyo MX. However, ATX, KBS, BS11, Sun Television, Anime Lab, and Wakanim France still plan to air the Too Hot for TV series. Now as we go from too hot for TV to too cold for outdoors, let's take a look at the weather outside. And Rehoboth Beach is pretty lonely at this hour. In fact, it's actually been pretty lonely the entire day. And that's because it's too cold. And it's been, well, let's take a look at what we're going to be seeing tonight for national weather. And all those highs are just dominating the Northeast. They're dominating the Midwest. And we have lows crawling all the way from Texas all the way up to Maine. And that's the cold front that will be bringing rain, snow, you have it, you name it. It's coming across. Now, as we see tomorrow, that cold front is moving on through. And those high pressure systems are inching ever so closer. We get snow ranging from Texas to Oklahoma to Kansas to Missouri. And rain will be going from Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, the southeast end of Missouri, Tennessee, the south, even Delaware and South Jersey will be getting in on the action along with the rest of the Delmarva region. And tomorrow night, that rain will not let up. That cold front is constantly being pushed back and forth, back and forth. Will it move to the east? Some say probably not. Let's take a look back out to Rehoboth Beach right now. As we take a look at what the current conditions for Dover are, high temp today was 61 degrees, low temp is going to be 31 degrees, and currently it's 42 in both Dover and the suburbs, and it doesn't feel spectacular. As I said, it's too cold for outdoors, and yes, that was a deliberate segue. Now, let's check the humidity in the barometer. The barometer is steady at 29.54 inches, and the humidity is 47%. It's dry, but not too dry. The winds are gusting at 18 miles an hour, and we are under a wind advisory tonight until 7 o'clock, so it'll be clearing out while we're gaming. It'll definitely be clearing out while we're gaming. And speaking of tonight, it'll be windy and it'll be partly cloudy very later. The low of 31 degrees. Now the record high today was 66, which was reached in 2008. The record low was 9 degrees, which was reached in 1996. Let's take a look at tomorrow. It'll be mostly sunny. It'll be very fair skies. I forgot to erase that. But showers may return. It'll be a high of 46. Sunrise tomorrow is at 7:02 and sunset is at 5:30. Now let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. Tomorrow we got mostly sunny, and if that surface map is anything to rely on, also going to be raining. Sunday the 9th, it'll be mostly sunny again, but we're going to get a bit of a big temperature boost. It'll be 51 degrees. On Monday, we're gonna have some light rain. It's also going to be 51 degrees, but at least it'll be warmer in the evening. Tuesday, that rain's going to get a bit heavier, and a not so big temperature boost, but it will be significantly colder at night. Wednesday, we got partly cloudy skies, and that cold will be hitting us like a flea on a dog. Thursday, it'll be showers, high of 48, and next Friday, there's supposed to be a T there, I guess I forgot to do that. It'll be partly cloudy, high of 39, low 27. And this is what we get for checking the weather very early, until we have to adjust the current conditions very close to airtime. And when we come back, the Switch has been impacted by the coronavirus. Plus, we've got your Famitsu scores. All coming up when GameCenter 40 returns in a couple of minutes. Nintendo has confirmed today that the coronavirus in China will impact shipments of the Nintendo Switch and its accessories to Japan. They announced that production and shipment delays are expected for the Switch itself, the Joy-Con controllers, other accessories, and Ring Fit Adventure, which is already undergoing a shortage. Pre-orders for the upcoming Animal Crossing themed Switch have been postponed until a future date. Although Nintendo announced that this is specifically for Japan, they have yet to announce if the coronavirus crisis will affect other areas of the world as far as Switch shipment goes. Koei Tecmo producer for the Fairy Tail RPG Keisuke Kikuchi has posted on GameCity.ne.jp that the RPG of Fairy Tail has been postponed from its March 19th date all the way to June 25th. The delay affects all planned versions of the game as well as the international versions. The stated reason is for quality and to adjust the balance of the characters. The two limited editions are still on, however, and will be released on June 25th in Europe and Japan and June 26th in North America. Well, finally tonight we gotta take a look at those scores from Famitsu. Every week they publish in their magazine a whole lot of scores, they review a whole lot of games. Each game gets assigned 4 readers. So, let's get to the scores for week 5, February 4th, 2020, and here we go. Taking the spot at number 9, because there is no number 10 this week, is Juggernauts for the Sony PlayStation 4 with 6.777 with a final total of 27 out of 40. Number 8 is Jewel Wars for the Nintendo Switch, and the score reviews are 6, 7, 8, 6 for a final total also of 27 out of 40. Number 7 spot is Bookbound for the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch. All 4 reviewers gave it a 7 for a final total of 28 out of 40. Number 6 is Real Time Shogi for the Nintendo Switch, and the scores are 7, 8, 7, and 8 for a final total of 30 points out of 40. Number 5, halfway there, is Degrees of Separation for the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 4. 3 reviewers gave it an 8, but the last reviewer gave it a 7 for a final total of 31 points out of the possible 40. Number 4 is Death End Request 2 for the PlayStation 4. All 4 reviewers gave the game an 8 out of 10 for a final total of 32 out of 40. Number 3, it's much the same, but Hatsune Miku Project Diva for the Nintendo Switch also got all 8s for 32 out of 40, and same with Kunai at number 2, so they all tie for second place. And the number 1 game this week is To the Moon for the Nintendo Switch. And all 4 games would have been tied for first place if it hadn't been for the first reviewer giving it a 9 out of 10 for that final total of 33, not 37, out of 40. You know, it really does look like that I will have to... It really does look like I might have to take a very good look at To the Moon and see if the first reviewer saw something that deserves to be seen. And that is all for GameCenter for you tonight. I'd like to thank you for And that is all for Game Center for you tonight. I would like to thank you for being with us. Coming up next is the gaming segment on twitch.tv. The link will be in the screen in a few minutes. It will also be pasted into the chat bar. And for those leaving, thank you for being with us, and good night.